Hi there, I'm Egfer, and today I want to show you a new village breed I've designed for 119 and above. And it's pretty simple and straightforward. You can see it behind me here. It does have some quality of life features in there, which, some of them are optional. You can leave them out, or I'll show you how to include those. But that's quite a simple thing to build and very, very reliable. And I'll show you how to use it as well. I also will show you how to build it up in the sky. And I have a second version, which I'm going to show you in this video as well, which has a few more automation features. It's basically exactly the same thing, but with some additional bits and bobs just to kind of make it easier to use. Now, one thing to talk about is that one of the most requested videos on my channel has been a tutorial for my advanced villager breeder, and I do intend to do that. So thank you for everyone who's watched that video, the showcase video, and has enjoyed that and has maybe asked me to do a tutorial for it. I am going to do that. It will be based very much on a similar design to this one, but with all of the extra stuff built in that you saw on the showcase. Not exactly the same as that showcase video, hopefully even better. Okay, so I will get onto that, but for now.
Okay, so let's dive straight in.
Okay, let's look at what you're going to need for the build, and that is 9 beds, any colour. You'll need some carrots or potatoes or beetroot, or actually bread is fine. So that's food for the villagers. You'll need some minecarts. I've got 4, and I've got 16 glass blocks. These next 3, the comparator, the lamp, and the sea lantern, are actually optional. You can get away without them, but they, quite nice quality of life things. And then a couple of torches, 4 normal rails, 10 powered rails, 3 wooden buttons I'd recommend, a redstone torch, 3 redstone dust, the medium amethyst bud. It can also be a large amethyst bud, it doesn't matter. Again, it's kind of optional. There are ways around it. I know it's one of those things which is harder to get because you need, you need to find a geode. You need to have silk touch on your pickaxe to be able to get them. A couple of villagers, 16 blocks of your choice, solid blocks, 2 stairs of your choice. I'm using mangrove for those. A piston, a sticky piston. Again, the sticky pistons and the stairs aren't really required, but they're nice to have. A glass pane, 2 trapdoors. Again, I'm using mangrove. 1 dispenser and a water bucket. So simple as that. So we can start the build of the simple villager breeder, and I'm going to do it just here. Now, what I recommend is you build this about 100 blocks, this basically 96 blocks away or more from any iron farm or trading hall, because actually the villager breeder will just kind of get in the way of those things, and it can cause you problems. So build it far enough away. You can also build it up in the sky, and then you need to be 76 blocks above the nearest bed in your trading hall or iron farm. Okay, so you've got those 2 choices, but I'm going to build it on the ground here, and we'll talk a little bit about how you could move it up if you need to. Okay, so first thing we do is we're going to dig a hole, and I want that hole to be 3 by 3 by 3, just kind of a cube. And you'll see that because I'm in a flat world, I get down to bedrock here. But in your world, you may find that as you dig down, you've got some holes in here or whatever. Then just make sure you fill those up before you carry on. Okay. So what we're going to do then is in this hole, go to this corner, and I'm going to break 2 blocks out like that, and then face the back and break forwards a couple of blocks as well. On powered rail there and there. Then turn around and place a dispenser facing towards that powered rail. Okay, now I want to dig my way out of here, so I'm going to just make a staircase like this, and we're going to put powered rail all the way up the staircase like so. I want it to be powered, so put a torch here that powers this rail, which is great, and a couple of glass blocks on top, and that just makes sure that nothing can get down to the bottom here. It's all no zombies are going to be able to walk down there. Okay, come around this side, and I want to break this block as well, and you'll have dug up some temporary blocks. So I should put some dirt on top of here. I want redstone dust on top of that dirt. And then we're going to put one of our solid blocks on top of that with a button on it. And what that button will do, it'll power this dust, which will power this dispenser, and that will release a minecart to go up the rail. Now break this block, and I want to put a trap door on here, like so. It should open downwards like that, and I can use that to access the dispenser. We're going to put a couple of minecarts in there to start with. Okay, you can fill it up if you want. Now, quality of life thing, you don't need to do this, but it's quite nice to know immediately if you've got minecarts in there or if you've run out. So the way we're going to do that is just going to dig down here so you can see the dispenser, and we're going to have a comparator reading that dispenser, like so. And that's powering into a block here. Break the block above that. Put redstone dust on that block. Put a solid block, one of your temporary ones, it's fine, just here. And then on top of that, we're going to place a lamp, like so. And you can see that lamp is lit because we have minecarts in here. If I take those out, the lamp goes off. Okay. Nice and simple. Close the trapdoor, make sure nothing can get down there. Okay, so what I suggest you do now is grab your water and place it in the corner which is opposite of the dispenser. So obviously that'll push all of our babies down towards that corner, and they'll grow up, and that allows the minecart to pick them up through the corner. So that will help us to get them out of this area. Okay, so I'm going to top this up with glass like this, except for this back corner here, because that's where our babies are going to fall down. And the nice thing about this build is actually our villagers just stand here at ground level, so they're going to be fairly easy to get in, and we're going to look at doing that in a moment. So let's build a space for them, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 blocks. We're going to make that 2 high. The same here, 1, 2, 3, and 2 high. Okay, so this is where our village is going to be. And for the time being, I just want to put glass blocks here and here. Okay. Now come around the back. And I want to put a solid block here. Now we're going to get back to our powered rails. Powered rail there, coming down here and along. And obviously this will, you know, wherever your villagers are coming from, you can bring them in this way. Maybe you brought them by boat, so that's fine. You can just push them in to a minecart sitting on here. I want a button temporarily on there. Grab my villagers and my minecart. And I'm going to, oh, before we do that, I want to put a glass block above there. That's to make sure they can't jump back out again. Okay. So minecart here, get your villagers into the minecart. It's absolutely fine. You can use nitwits. They breed just like any other villager. So if you've seen tutorials tell you not to use nitwits, you can ignore those. It's absolutely fine to use nitwits. Okay, push a button, in he goes. And what we can do is we can just break out these blocks for the time being. Break this minecart. You can pick it up through the corner. And we'll go on to our second villager. There we go. He's in as well. Break the minecart, pick it up, and then just replace these blocks here like this. I'm going to break that one, the block there, and I get rid of all of this now. I don't need that anymore. But at the back here, we are going to be putting some beds. I want to make it 3 high. I want to put 9 beds down in total. So I'm going to put them like this. Then break these ones. Put the next layer of beds down. Break these ones. And the next layer of beds down like that. Okay. Now, just here, I'm going to swap this. This is a quality of life thing. You don't need to do this, but I kind of quite like it. I'm going to put a sticky piston there, and then I'm going to use my stairs. I'm going to put stairs here and here. I'm going to put a redstone dust just there, 2 solid blocks there and there. And then with a button, just put that on the bottom block here on the left-hand side. When I press that, my stairs pop out, I can climb up, but no zombies or skeletons can get up anywhere on this build, okay? So they won't be harassing your villagers, or at least not from the top. Spiders can still climb up, but they don't care about villagers, so that should be fine. And that's kind of almost it. There's one tricky bit still to go. And that is that we need to get our babies out of this space when they're born. And they don't just, necessarily jump out all by themselves. And if things go wrong, you can end up with the baby growing up in here and then you'll never get it out. So how do we get them out? How do you make sure they leave the space? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to block the top off with a trapdoor so these villagers can't get out. I'm going to break this block here. And I'm going to put a normal piston just here, like so. Oops, like stupid Minecraft, like so. And if I just use a button here and press it, you'll see that my villagers get pushed to the back of this block here. And that will mean that my baby gets shunted out the front. Unfortunately, they don't necessarily stay there. And that's why we have the amethyst bud. And this could be a medium or large amethyst. Either is fine. But I'm going to put a glass block here. And I'm going to place my amethyst bud on there. Now, if you can't get one, I know it can be a bit difficult because you need to find a geode. You need to have silk touch, etc. If you can't find one, you could just leave the piston here. And if it looks like they've moved at any point, then you can just kind of push them back with your piston. Okay, but it's nice to have the amethyst bud. It's going to make it more reliable. Put this down. I don't need that. Let's come back down here. And we're going to break this block here. And we're going to replace it with a glass pane. Now, actually, you don't need a glass pane. It doesn't really make a difference in this build. And you'll see it looks a bit funny. It's not connected to this piston. Actually, what's interesting in the preview that's just come out, glass panes will connect to pistons. So this will go all the way across. So it'll look a bit better. But the reason we have this is actually if you decide to build this top part of the breeder up in the sky. Remember I said 76 blocks upwards. The glass pane basically aligns the baby villager as it comes out, and it makes sure that he will fall into exactly the block below the glass pane and nowhere else. Okay, so that's why we have the glass pane. It's just good practice, I think, to have that there. Okay, I want 2 more blocks because baby zombies can fall down here and then they can kill your baby villagers. I want 2 more glass blocks in front like that, and that just makes sure that everything there is going to be safe. Okay, press this, pop up. My build is done, I think. So, how do we use it? Well, we get some food. And this is a pretty manual system at the moment, and this is the basic villager breeder, so it is quite manual. But you basically get your food and you throw it in. And remember, it's 12 carrots or 12 potatoes or 12 beetroot or 3 bread that you need to feed to get 1 baby out. And I recommend strongly that you don't ever give them more than 48 at a time, or if it's bread, more than 12 at a time, because if you do, they'll start sharing it and it ends up being inefficient. You get actually less babies per amount of food. So you can give them 48 at a time. Just pop that down now. I'll grab that. And you can see straight away they've started breeding. Remember, they only breed during the day. They don't breed at night. So, if you want to get quite a lot of babies, you might want to, maybe you could put a little roof on here, have that as your AFK spot whilst your babies are being produced. And of course, because we've got 9 beds, 2 of them are claimed by the 2 villagers in here. That means I've got 7 spare. You will only get 7 babies in this system until you move those babies away. So it's probably worth talking about that. We can move them away just by pressing the button. We get them out here. And this is kind of okay. They can go off and, to wherever you want, to your iron farm, your trading hall. That has to be 96 blocks away, at least, from the beds. And there needs to be another bed at that location. And the reason for that is that that creates a new village in the new location. And that new village, the babies or the adult villagers you send that way will join that new village. They'll leave this one, and then that clears up space for more babies to be produced. Okay, and of course you can add more beds if you wanted as well. Now the problem with this is that what if you've got a nitwit? Okay, so you babies have been born, they've grown up, you've ended up with a nitwit, you don't want a nitwit, and you've just sent him off to your iron farm. Okay, so that's not going to work. So let's come up with a solution for that. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put a block down here. I'm going to put a normal rail on top of that block, a powered rail just here, and then I can go off to wherever I want to go. Just need a button on this block. And now what will happen, I've got a baby come. Now what will happen, you miss it. That can occasionally happen. In fact, it's the first time it's happened to me. But yeah, let's put another one in. And press this, get my baby out. I'm imagining he's grown up. Maybe he's turned into a nitwit. We don't want that. We can kill him. If he's not a nitwit and he's kind of villager we want, then that's great. Just press a button and off he goes. Okay? So that's just kind of like a little way of making sure we can filter out nitwits before we send them along. And that's it. That's your whole system. And we'll see, that's our 3rd baby. We are going to get a total of 4 babies. Here's our 4th one on its way now. And you'll see when he's born, he just gets ejected straight out the front. There's no worry about them getting stuck in there. There he goes. All right. So that's our 4 babies for 48 carrots. That's 12 carrots each. And that is our simple build. Obviously, there's a few, kind of bells and whistles on it. You can simplify it even more if you want. We'll go on and I'll show you something which is a little bit more automated based on the same design. So we'll just kind of adjust this one to create the slightly more advanced design. Actually, before we go on to the slightly more advanced version of the breeder with a bit more automation, I just want to show you the setup for if you want to build it up in the sky. And you'll see that everything down here is basically exactly the same. We've got our collection area, we've got our dispenser down there, and our rail line to get the villagers out. The differences are there's only 1 bed down here. We only need 1 bed. And we've put a little bit of protection around the drop chute to make sure that we don't get, anything falling into there with our villagers. So this should make it pretty safe. Okay. And if we go and look at the top is also very, very similar. I have made a couple of adjustments because, for example, I don't think you need an automated staircase because nothing's going to spawn up here. This sea lantern is enough to give light to this whole area. And I've only got 3 beds. And I need 3 beds because there are 2 for the breeding villagers and 1 for the baby. And as soon as the baby's born, he's going to fall down there and he's going to join that village at the bottom and free up the bed for the next baby. So that's all fine. And otherwise, everything is pretty much identical. Okay. So again, we can come up here, we can get some carrots. And if I drop my, let's take 12 carrots, drop them in there. And we will see after a little while that these guys will start to breed. And I might skip a moment because they can take a few seconds. Okay, and there they go. They're breeding away. Our baby's going to get popped out of here, going to fall down, and we will follow the baby down to the bottom. And here he comes. And you'll see that the baby falls exactly into our drop chute. And you see the sparklies because he's joined this village here. That's freed up the bed at the top for the next baby. So that's it really. I built that 80 blocks above. So between the two beds there's 80 blocks. So that's, more than 76 blocks. So these two villages will not merge or interfere with each other in any way. And that's it. That's how you build it up in the sky if you want to. And of course, this does make it a little bit more complicated because you've got to get up there. You've got to have a method of getting up there. And there's several ways of doing that. You could build yourself a bubble column. You could build a scaffold tower. You could put ladders up if you wanted. If you want to be really cheap, you could use twisted vine and bone meal, and that will give you a route up as well. But you've also got to get your villagers up there and in to the breeder in the first place. I'm not going to show you how to do that, but if you want to build it in the sky, work it out. Pull them up in a boat or something. All right. So there you go. That's up in the sky. Okay, so I've made a copy of the breeder we just built originally over there. I've made it a copy over here. We're going to convert this to be a little bit more automated. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to come on top, and on the left-hand side, I'm going to break this block and I'm going to replace it with a dispenser, like so. Okay, so that's a dispenser, it's not a dropper. And then over here, I want to break this glass block and the glass pane. And we're going to replace that glass pane with string, like so. I know I said the glass pane was a good thing to have because it aligns the baby villagers. In this configuration, we don't need it. I can't put the string lower because actually adult villagers, if they ended up filling this area, would bounce up and down and trigger the string. So I don't want to do that. If you built your breeder up in the sky, then absolutely you could have a string one block lower and have a pane here. Just means rearranging things a little bit in the redstone that we're going to do next. Okay, so I'm going to put this glass block back now, just here. And we're going to break this because I want an observer watching that string. So there's my observer. And it's going to watch that string. And then we're going to have a solid block just here. I want a repeater on 4 ticks, just there. And what this repeater does basically is when the villager pops out of here, they trigger the string, which triggers the observer. And then they fall out and the string triggers again, which triggers the observer twice. But they do that in less than 4 ticks. So actually by having a 4-tick repeat here, we make sure that this only comes on 1 time. Okay, so that's the point of doing that. And then I'm going to put a sticky piston just here with an upwards facing observer, like so. Okay. Then we want to extend this platform out a little bit, like so. Okay, and I want now to have, I need some redstone dust. Oops. And I need my comparators and my target block. Okay, so we're going to have redstone dust here, a target block next to it, and then we're going to have a comparator just here, comparator facing the other way just there, and then 2 redstone dust here and here, and then extend them out to there. That'll power this block, which will power the dispenser. Okay, now it's really important that you get this the right way around. You do configure these correctly, and the redstone line distances do matter. Okay, so make sure you've got your comparators facing the same way as I have, with a target block in the same place. Okay, and this is normally just like a pulse extender, but it's actually going to be a pulse multiplier for us because we're just putting a 1-tick pulse into there. That'll make this circuit flash, and that's what's going to dispense carrots into the villagers. Okay, So that's great. I'm going to now block this off like that. And what I want to do is I want to have a button. So if you remember, this is where that repeater is. So I'm going to put another repeater here. I'm going to put a block there. And we're going to put another button onto here, which can be... We've got stone buttons. I'd like to use a stone button, I think. Just because it's a bit quicker to operate. So let's pick a stone button. I'm going to put a stone button on there. Now, again, we don't want anything climbing up here. So we're just going to fill this in, make it look a bit nice, like so. Okay, and we can do that here as well, with maybe a glass block just there. Okay, so now what will happen is when we put something into our dispenser, I'm going to put, let's put 24 potatoes in. So that's enough for 2 villagers, and you should always put in the right number of potatoes or carrots or beetroot. This particular circuit won't work with bread, okay, because it's going to give 12 pulses out. It's going to dispense 12 things to the villagers. So we want it to be either potatoes or carrots or beetroot. So this should be enough for 2 villagers. Okay, and when I press this button, that will start my circuit at the top. It'll dispense 12 potatoes. There should be 12 left. Yep. My villagers will have a baby together. That's so sweet. Here it comes. And when the baby is born, it will trigger the string, which triggers that observer, which restarts the circuit and dispenses the next 12. So the advantage of doing it this way is that in the previous one, I said that, you know, if you're just throwing in carrots or potatoes, you can't do more than 48 at a time. Otherwise, it's inefficient. With this, you can put in as many as you want. So you want 20 villagers, you can just throw in 240 carrots and it'll sort itself out. You just need to start it by pressing this and everything else will work out for you. Okay? That's nice and simple. In reality, we maybe don't even need the stairs anymore because, you know, you can easily get to this dispenser. But if you want to leave them in, that's absolutely fine. Lets you get up and check on your villagers whenever you want. So that's it. That's the build with a little bit more automation in it. And now that you've got 3 different buttons on the build, it might be worth putting some signs up here as well. So your stairs, to start a breeding process, and to collect a villager in a minecart. Okay, so that's up to you. So I hope you like that, and that's all I've got time for today. So, you know, go and watch some adverts. I think they're about pizza and dating at the moment, or at least all the ones I get are about pizza and dating. Let me know in the comments what you get. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.